Good morning, everyone. I don't usually go live on Sunday, but I've been reading a really fun book about humor and how actually people take you more seriously if you are humorous when you're speaking with them. So I'm Marla Copal, and I help people with their online business, and I really help them get sales going. So many people nowadays are really getting down the trick of getting leads, but they don't know what to do with them once they have them. So selling is has some distinctions that are different from marketing. Marketing is attracting. Sales is getting the deal done. And there's a whole set of skills in there that you don't use when you're marketing. And so I just had a class yesterday and everybody realized that they had not been seeing that difference. So now they have some new skills to practice and work from. And I will have that product out and available for you later to buy on video as soon as it's edited. So just keep me in mind if you really want to know some of the distinctions between both and how to behave in those situations. But here's something interesting. I always tell a story about when I first really discovered, well, there were two times I discovered that, different people want to get attention differently. So let's go with the simple one. We're growing up as kids, and you got brothers that tease the heck out of you. Now, some of you who didn't have brothers, you kind of missed out on the teasing part because I think it actually strengthens your business skills. And here's why. My brothers were both younger than I am, but one of them has a wicked sense of humor. And he would just deadpan, straight face, say something, and you would just feel assaulted. And I would always blow up. And Mom, one day, she took me aside and she said, every time you react, every time you get emotional, every time you yell and scream and cry, she said, he wins. Wow. That was all I needed to hear because I don't never considered myself competitive, but that was enough of a nudge. Good morning over the side to go, oh, so then I looked at her and I said, well, what does that mean? And she says, really, if you will stop reacting to his teasing for about 2 weeks, he'll finally give it up. So he did. Oh, it was the hardest thing I ever did. I bit my tongue, bit my cheeks, and but he stopped teasing me, and we developed a whole new relationship. So carry that forward. I watched my grandfather a couple of years later. He was a businessman and an old farmer, and just loved to. He was a marshmallow from my perspective, but he was gruff to some people. Well, one day he's being gruff to someone, and after they leave, I said, Grandpa, you like to argue, don't you? He just grinned ear to ear, turned around to me, and he says, you'll be a good businesswoman. So it takes years, after you have those stories and those experiences, it takes years for you to get to the point where you understand the value of those experiences. But the value of those experiences for me have been that I've been in negotiations with bankers, with realtors, with property managers. Hey, Delroy. And all of those people sometimes thought they were going to put on the gruff. And so when they did that, I would usually respond with humor. And they're all situational. This is the thing about humor and sales. Everything is situational. It does not it doesn't come out of a script. It comes out of your life experiences and your willingness to be vulnerable, but your willingness to laugh. So why did I bring this up today? Well, I find that everybody does okay starting a conversation with people. Sometimes they jump too soon into what it is they have. They don't even know what's missing in the other person's life in order to bring their product or their service into an opportunity for them. But the thing that most people don't know is that a lot of you get, yeah, Delroy, I just have fun with people, Delroy. So the thing is Delroy just told me nobody should mess with me. What you don't want to do is you just don't want to come mess with me because I might make you laugh. So the thing is that when we are working with people, a lot of you get very, very nervous to either open the conversation or to close the conversation. You get really nervous to ask for the money at the end. And when you're getting nervous to ask for the money, you've got all sorts of biases running around in your head. You got a whole bunch of crud up there. And you're going, one of them is you're worried that, they're going to think it's too much, right? Well, if you're having that conversation in your head, you just brought a crowd into this closing conversation. Why the heck would you do that? And then the next thing that you're probably going to do is I hope they don't tell me that I'm going to talk to my spouse. Well, quit worrying about that stuff. Learn how to handle things like I need to talk to my spouse or whatever it means. They're not no's. They're only a situation that you still have to do discovery around. But let me come back to why I brought up the humor and what we need to do. Sometimes when you're asking for money, and if somebody's there, like they're pausing a long time, you don't know what they're thinking, but you can tell you don't want to interrupt. Or maybe you do. But let's say you didn't want to interrupt. Like, don't say is now a good time. Let them just keep thinking. Well, you can throw in a little sidebar once in a while that just says, I'll throw in my pet frog too. And then when they laugh, they'll buy. So if you're nervous, you don't want to do stupid stuff, like start giving stuff away that you can't afford to give away. But you bring humor into the moment, and you'll probably close the deal. So in this book that I'm reading, it was fascinating. This woman was training a class, and it was sounds similar to some of the things that I do. And the big boss is sitting there, and he's leaning back in the chair doing this, and he's doing all this stuff to say, I don't believe you. I'm going to give you a hard time. So finally, he just said, I don't want to know any of that stuff. I just want to know when you're going to teach me mind control so I can just make all these guys do what I want them to do. And I bet you a lot of you in sales want to do the same thing, right? Well, she looked right back at him, just like I would have. I mean, it was fun reading the story. And she said, well, the mind control class is next week. And then there's a silent pause. And then all of a sudden the room cracks up. The guy cracks up, pulls his chair up to the table. He's now engaged. So when he got more engaged with the material, and so you always run a risk with your humor. But what the thing is with humor is you help people save face. You don't make them look bad with your humor. And this is where people mess humor up. And that is a whole different bucket of wax, bucket of honey, bucket of whatever I want to talk about. Because, and I don't even know that I'm as astute as I should be to be able to have that conversation. But you know what I mean. When the humor is a knife, that's not the humor I'm talking about. I'm talking about the humor that helps you and that customer pull together. Now, you can have this a number of times in your sales conversation, but I find people are so focused on their dang scripts that they forget that they're just talking to a person. So sometimes people throw curveballs at you. They throw an odd question about your product. And it's like, well, you just have to come back with something. It's like, it could be, I never thought of that. So I wonder if we threw all of that in the blender and whipped it up, what we get. In other words, take their situation, take their what may seem like a silly question to you, bring it into the conversation. And, I'm such a situational salesperson. I just like to go in cold turkey. I know my products, I know my services. I just like to go in cold turkey to every conversation I ever have with anyone, because there's no script when we're having a conversation over coffee with a friend. So why should there be any script when you're talking to someone about a sale? So what's my point today? Many. But I got enjoy, bucket of wax, right? Delroy, it's like, that's wrong. But I must be on vacation in my mind. But anyway, the point here is, if you're getting too heavy during a sales process, you really got to talk to me. I'm Marla Copal. You find me at successwithmarla.com. You really want to find out how it is you are going to get over this excessive concern you have about selling something to someone. Selling is a livelihood. Selling is a career. Selling is going to put the money in the bank. So get all the leads you want and get ready to sell them what it is that you can offer that is going to bring value to their life. So if you can do it with humor, you're going to make more sales. I make more sales because I'm humorous. And I think I got a little bit lucky, but it's okay. What you have to do is get to a point in your life where you go, I won't die if I use humor. I won't die if I have another conversation with someone and try to sell somebody. And actually, that is the worst thing that could happen. So once you really accept that, you'll have the best humor there is to have in the world. So anyway, happy Sunday. I'll talk to you soon. Get a hold of me at successwithmarla.com. And I got something for you, but you got to get a hold of me to get it. Talk to you soon. Thanks, Delroy. Bye-bye.